Okay, well, hello anyone that is watching. Today, I'm going to go through my favorite NHL teams, or really I'm going to rank every single NHL team from my least favorite to my most favorite. Anyway, let's get right into this. First, some background. So, I played hockey as a kid for like 12 years, something like that. And as a kid, I had a very specific team that I liked. But I got out of hockey, and then recently I got back into it. A couple of years ago, I think, 2023, I got back into hockey. So the fact that I had such a long break, and I'm just getting back into hockey recently, that does affect the teams that I like, the teams that I don't like. So the teams I used to like might not be the same anymore. But this is what I look for in a team. Number one, top priority is the look. If I don't like how the team looks in terms of their jerseys and their arena and their vibe, their logo, why do I want to cheer for them? I'm going to say this right now. As a kid, my favorite hockey team were the Calgary Flames because I absolutely loved those jerseys. Absolutely loved those jerseys. They were so nice. I don't actually like the new jerseys, so I might give a bit of a spoiler where they might land up. But as a kid, I loved those jerseys. So that's the number one thing I look for is the look. Next are storylines. This can be a little complicated because I can't really do storylines for a long period of time. I can only do the storylines for when I got into hockey. I think those are pretty important because it really gets you invested. It's like, oh, do you want the underdog story or all the people are, oh, this time has come, all these different storylines, even with specific players. And speaking of that, I think the players on the team are also very important. If I like certain players or I like most of the players, in terms of I like their personalities, I like the way they play, I like the way they carry themselves, how clutch they are, all these things, that adds up. So the players are really important. And the last point, not as important to me personally, but it's the history. So a team like Vegas doesn't have as much history as a team like Toronto. So that could almost be like a tiebreaker, I would say, in terms of what team I like. Now, every list, someone's gotta be in the bottom. And for me, number 32, my least favorite hockey team in the NHL, the New Jersey Devils. Now, at the bottom of the list, these are teams that I actually don't like. I just don't like these teams, and I will always actively root against them for some reason. Now, for the New Jersey Devils, I don't mind their jersey. Their jersey's not a bad look. I think it is nice and clean. But for me, I find the storylines that the team has going very boring. And I hate some of their players. I hate Jack Hughes. He's a great player, but he's so arrogant and annoying to me. I really hate it. And their teams in the past, I haven't liked necessarily except for Brodeur. But a lot of the other players, they just, I don't know, doesn't give a good vibe. If they're like dirty or something like that, to that extent. So for all those reasons, New Jersey Devils, my least favorite team. Probably the only team in the NHL I actually would say that I hate. Now, the next team on this list, I don't hate them, but I don't really root for them to win. And that's number 31, the Seattle Kraken. Not really fair to Seattle because they're the newest team, but the reason I'm not a big fan of them is, one, I'm not a big fan of their logo. I think it looks like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like it doesn't look like a Kraken. It doesn't look like a sea monster. It looks like a snake. Doesn't make any sense to me. The colors kind of look a little off, but that's fine. That doesn't bother me. Main problem is I don't know anything about any players that they have. Absolutely zero. I know nothing about the team. Everything I hear about them is boring. All their stats are boring. They're a very boring team. And the reason I root against them is because, well, they're so boring that I don't want them to win and do well because I don't want to see them. They just actually make me annoyed when I see them. But nothing annoys me nearly as much as this team. This might be the team that annoys me the most. And that is number 30, the Edmonton Oilers. Now, why do I hate... Well, I don't hate... Why do I don't like these guys? Number one, they only have like two good players. McDavid, Draisaitl. If they're not there, their team fucking sucks. And I think that's just fair to say. But, besides them, a lot of their other players... And a lot of their fan bases, I'm like, oh, they're so like, oh, we're the best, we're the best. And then they also play dirty, they complain when something dirty happens to them. Like, oh, they feel like babies that are being led by two of the greatest players of all time. it's not very fun when it's like, oh, it's just like, oh, okay, McDavid's got to work his magic, pull them across the entire season. It's not very fun. They're not a good team. McDavid's a great player, but I don't like the Oilers. Just hate them. Next, the Winnipeg Jets. This was not as intense of a hate. It's more just like, it's kind of like the Seattle thing where they're kind of boring to me. I don't know, I just don't get excited to watch a Winnipeg game ever. And even there's nothing flashy about their play style, their players. There's just nothing really interesting about them. And even when they get to the playoffs, they kind of just blunder it all away. Something about them, I don't find it very fun to watch. And speaking of not very fun, we have the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the thing about the Vancouver Canucks is that I don't hate them on the ice, but off the ice, their team is very frustrating. Like, there's just so much drama. So much interpersonal crap going on. Everyone's getting injured. Besides for Quinn Hughes, which is the only player I actually like on the team, there's so much drama that, like, you can't even focus on them when they're on the ice because everything else off the ice is just so messed up. Also, their logo, I've never been a big fan of. I like their colors, but I'm not a fan of like their logo. So overall, their look is kind of like confusing. So I was like, what is a Canuck? I don't know. Now, this was the last team I would say that I hate, and we're going to switch into teams that I just don't care about at all. And that is number 27, New York Islanders. Now, for some reason, I don't get as upset at the New York Islanders as I do Seattle. And I think it's just that they're a different kind of boring. Seattle is just like beyond boring. Like they almost don't even exist in my mind. New York Islanders are more boring just because they don't have much of a style. They kind of just show up and play a very slow-paced style. It's not very exciting. And they also don't have any like real superstars in their team to make you interested. And I don't know, there's just something about their storylines that don't go anywhere. They don't build anything. There's no drama or tension throughout the season. And then speaking of no drama or tension, I mean, come on. Number 26, the Buffalo Sabres. Like, what is that? Like, you don't even have to, it's like, okay, they're not going to make the playoffs. Okay, no one cares. Like, these guys are just like, they can't win anything. They can't even get to the playoffs. And like, they have some good players too, which is what's really, really annoying. Also, it's a crime that they don't go back to the black and red goat head, because these new ones, I'm like, they're kind of bland. Like, the black and red pops so much. If they use those red jerseys, black and red jerseys, they would be a lot higher on this list. Now, this next one, if we were talking about 10 years ago, they would be a lot higher. But considering I got into the NHL again, 2023, number 25 is the Chicago Blackhawks, or the Chicago Bedards. Basically, their team is just awful. Like, skill-wise, their team sucks. That's basically the only reason they're so low. If they were actually a decent team, they would be a lot higher. Also, the fact that the only player they have of note is Bedard and no one else, that doesn't help their case. So they can't really build any good storylines besides for, oh, is Bedard going to be good or bad? Oh, that's really it. So they don't have much going on. But if they were a good team, they would be a lot higher. Number 24, Anaheim Ducks. I think this is a similar case to Chicago where they just haven't been good while I've been a fan here. So it's like, well, they don't have anything good. They don't have any interesting players necessarily. I don't hear much about them. So it's like, there's not much to get invested in. But I think next couple of years, if they start playing really well and doing really well, they'll definitely go up higher on my list. But as of right now, this is where I have them. Number 23, Los Angeles Kings. Now, these guys are good, but at the same time, they never really wow me. I never sit down and think, oh man, I'm so excited to watch an LA game. And even in the playoffs, they just go against Edmonton and get their butt whooped. And I'm like, okay, guys, let McDavid just walk over you. I think it's just during the regular season, I just never get interested in their games. I think their logo is a little bland. I don't mind the black and white in terms of a color scheme, but I think their logo and their look overall could use a bit of spice. I think that's my main, and just like, they don't really have a lot of interesting storylines, and you'll understand why storylines are so important to me in some of the later entries. But as right now, I find Los Angeles doesn't have a lot of interesting things going for it. Now, number 22, the San Jose Sharks. Now, They're similar to Chicago, where they've just been terrible since I've been watching, but I find that all their players are a lot more entertaining than Chicago. It's a lot more dynamic, and their games are actually fun to watch, even if they suck. But at least they're fun to watch in a bad way. And I think that's the other reason I have them over LA and Chicago and other teams like that, is that they're just more fun to watch. They don't have good storylines. I don't really like their look very much, but they're fun to watch, which is important. Number 21. This one might be controversial for some people. I have the Washington Capitals. Now, the reason they're so low is that if it wasn't for Ovechkin, I don't think people would really care that much about the Capitals. Because they don't have very many interesting players besides for Ovechkin. Ovechkin, with Chicago, you have the Chicago Bedards. You basically have the Washington Ovies. That's basically how it feels. And also, their logos are just so, terrible. You just have, the name. You don't even have, a picture or something. If you look on the shoulders, that's a cool logo. You make that your logo. That being said, the color scheme is really good. But there's just not a lot of interesting storylines or people on that team, for me personally. Number 20, Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I feel like this is where we start to get to the point where these aren't teams that I don't really care about. These are teams that I enjoy to watch, but don't necessarily am cheering for them to win or lose. But they're fun to watch. And for me, Columbus, especially with the passing of Johnny Gaudreau, their team and their storyline became very interesting. We're saying, okay, are they going to make the playoffs? And a lot of their players, just those storylines really help to get you invested. It's unfortunate what happened, but I guess it didn't make them a more interesting team. And I don't hate their look. I do think their logo is a little odd, a little out of place, but I don't know, some of the storylines really get to me in this team. Now, number 19, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I feel like these guys are almost they're just getting past their primes. They're almost they're getting a little bit sad to watch in some ways, where it's okay, they're always so good, but they always get eliminated so early, where it's okay, are they still good anymore? But no, they're still good, of course. And I think they have some really top-tier talent that's really fun to watch, and they just have a really simplistic, nice, clean look to them that makes it really fun to watch. Maybe it's a little stereotypical, just white and blue, but simplicity, I think, is really useful. And a lot of the time, their players are very fun to watch and to see what happens with them. Number 18, Philadelphia. Now, Philly has also been a terrible team since I've been watching, but I think the main thing I love about these guys is I love the logo. I think the Philly logo is one of the best logos in all sports. I don't know why. It just feels good. And I think that's one of the main reasons they're so high for me. Because I don't really know much about the team. I don't really know much about the storylines. I just love their logo. And I just love the look. Honestly, that's the only reason they're this high. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the only reason. Number 17, Boston. Now, Boston is tricky because obviously the last season they've just been terrible and they haven't had too many superstar players. When I got back into hockey, that's right when Boston was starting to take a downturn and a lot of their best players were retiring. But that being said, because Boston has such a history to it and they're always at least they were, they're always in the playoffs, always fighting. They're always fun to watch. They have good storylines, always. Every year it's always some kind of story, something that keeps you interested in their game, which is why they're so high. Now, number 16, Minnesota Wild. I think I just appreciate the look. I don't know, I feel it's one of the most unique looks in terms of it has a darker tone green, has a really cool looking logo. And it does have some players that I find interesting, and I don't find their games horribly boring to watch. That being said, Kirill Kaprizov not being in the lineup, if he's injured, well, games aren't nearly exciting at that point. But they did have some interesting storylines. I really hope that they can make it past the second round so they become even more interesting. If they could reliably make it further into the playoffs, they would go a lot higher, for sure. Number 15, Ottawa. I think this is a consequence of just not being very good since I've been watching. That's really it. They just haven't been very good. But recently, getting a bit better, getting to the playoffs, they've definitely been bumped up because now the storyline of proving themselves, seeing that underdog story come to fruition. Very exciting. Not so sure about their logo. I do like their colors a lot, but I'm not sure about the logo. But I think the storylines for this team and some of the players are very exciting to watch. Number 14, Pittsburgh Penguins. Or, I guess, the Pittsburgh Crosbys, really. Because I think that's the only reason it's so exciting right now, because Crosby is such an exciting player to watch. And the drama behind, is he going to stay with this really shitty team, or is he going to move? That in itself makes it so exciting. And I don't know why. Just having, like, it's basically like if Wayne Gretzky was in his prime. You just like the teams because Wayne Gretzky's on the team. Crosby is that same way. And I feel like it's different from Ovechkin because Crosby, I feel like, makes the entire team more exciting to watch. You watch Washington for Ovi, but Crosby makes the rest of the team more entertaining to watch, I feel. I think that's why they're so high. Now, number 13, we're starting to the point where we have teams that I want to win, or at least I would like to see win. Calgary was my favorite team as a kid. Had some of my favorite players, Iginla, Phaneuf, Kiprusoff. Love those guys, but the thing I loved most about them as a kid was their look. And I hate to say this. I hate this new look. Not much has changed. I just, going from like the nice black, like the nice black with red border. Oh, the black looks so good. It had such good contrast. Now this looks like a weird like modern art project. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't pop at all. It doesn't look scary in any way. And it's just so depressing. Also, they haven't been very good recently, which doesn't help. Dustin Wolf is very exciting, though. But they went back to that classic look. Oh, they would bump up so quickly. Now, number 12. Detroit. I don't know what it is about this team. But for some reason, I find their race or their hopes, playoff hopes every single year, is more exciting to watch than the other teams that are always just barely out of the playoffs. I don't really know why. Something about them, how they're always so close, they always feel like they're fighting. They're always giving it their all. Every single game feels important to them, which makes it, when you watch it, more engaging for me. And I also like that Patrick Kane is back. That kind of is a nice little storyline for me. Number 11, Utah Mammoth. Now, it's interesting because last year, Utah is also rooting for them. It's like, oh, they just switched buildings, switched teams. I kind of want them to win. It's a real underdog story. But I actually kind of really like their look, and I like this new logo a lot. It's hard to say if they're going to go up or down on my list after the season. It's really going to depend, but they're an exciting team. And some of their players are also very fun to watch. So I don't get bored watching these games. Now, finally, my top 10. Number 10, the Rangers. Controversial, but I just love their look. I think they have one of the nicest looking color schemes and jerseys in the entire NHL. I really love their look. Don't love all their players, and especially last season, there's so much drama, but I think they're always an exciting team to have in the playoffs because they're always so tough to beat. They always have these really exciting series in the playoffs. That matched with their look. I love those colors. So good. Number 9. These are now getting to the point where these are teams I actively cheer for and want to win. And that's the Dallas Stars. And for Dallas, I feel like I just really like a lot of their players. A lot of their core players I really enjoy watching. They have really exciting storylines to me. And now they have Rantanen too. That's also a very exciting storyline. I'm not sure about their look or their logo, but I think the players, the storylines that comes up with it make up for it for sure. Now, speaking of Rantanen, we have the Colorado Avalanche. Again, just watching top-tier talent play like McKinnon is just a joy to watch. And unlike McDavid and Draisaitl, McKinnon and Makar actually have good players and a good team around them. And especially with their goalie issues that got switched out with Blackwood and Wedgwood, came so invested and so excited. And then Landeskog coming back. The storylines are very good. I also really like their logo. I'm not sure what it's about, but it just looks really clean, and their color scheme really, really fits. Now, number 7, Carolina Hurricanes. Controversial opinion here. I hate this logo. I will be honest. I actually really like their original Hurricane logo. I don't like this one at all. I think this one's stupid, but I love those colors, like the dark black and the deep red. Oh, it really shines. Reminds me of like the British Empire uniforms. Like, it just pops so much. Hate this other logo though, but I find their teams are always in the playoffs, always fighting hard, and just seeing if they're going to overcome those demons of the conference final is exciting. They might not be the most entertaining team for other people, but I find they're always there. They're always working hard. Anyways, number 6. This one would be surprising. Nashville. Now, last year really messed up. These guys were probably higher on my list if it wasn't for the last year of them just going from not terrible to absolute garbage. But I think some of their runs where they have all these magical moments, like they cancel the U2 tour and all of a sudden they went on like a 14-game winning streak. All these storylines, and then they got Stamkos and Marshall Show, big moves. I just find that they take chances, and it's always exciting to see where they're going to end up. And I don't mind the look, especially because it's the only team I can think of that has this like pure yellow look. It's just different, makes it look nice. Number 5, St. Louis Blues. For me, this is like pure storylines. Their 2019 Cup run, very exciting when I heard about it. And every single year, they have something interesting going on. Like, they have a coaching change that gives them a big bump, and all of a sudden they're the best team going into the playoffs. And they have a crazy series against Winnipeg. Like, every single year, these guys produce exciting storylines, and that's why they're so high up. Number 4, some people might think this is my number 1, Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this is just kind of selfish of me. I cheer for these guys so much during the regular season just to watch them choke in the playoffs. I find it so entertaining to watch them choke. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just the torturing of the Toronto fan base is so fun to watch. But that being said, classic look. Every single year, there's always drama. They're the most popular NHL team. It's hard not to like these guys, even if you like to hate them. They're always going to be on top for sure. Now, number 3, the big dogs. Now we have Vegas. A lot of people see Vegas as the bad guys of the NHL. You know what? I think it's good to have some bad guys. You got to have some teams that are like clearly the villains of the NHL. That makes the storylines exciting. Whenever these guys pull out like weird, dirty tactics, that just shows they're doing everything in their power to win. And that makes sense. Also, I love their look. I love that logo and the gold. It really pops, and it's so fitting for Vegas with the gold and everything. I love their look. Number 2, Montreal Canadiens. Almost every single time these guys are playing, it's exciting. Whether they're terrible and they're just trying to rebuild with these young players, they're fun to watch. They have a surprise run to the playoffs. They show up and give an exciting series. Even when they're on the top of the world, every single series is exciting. Every time you watch these guys, it's fun. I've never been bored by a Montreal game, ever. And also, classic look is probably the most classic and recognizable logo in the NHL. And it's so crisp. It's almost like the Yankees in baseball. It's that iconic to me. And of course, number 1, of course, you're going to all say that I'm a bandwagon, but the Panthers. Now, I got into hockey. I just started watching because I'll try to watch some hockey. And it was these guys that made me fall in love with hockey again. Every single game was exciting in 2023 that I watched. Their cup run was so dramatic. So many storylines. All their players, so much fun to watch. Even though a lot of people might hate them. But these guys make every game so exciting to me. And there's always so much drama. There's always so much heart that they put in every single game. But I'm also going to say, the main reason I started cheering for these guys was the look. I love the look of the Panthers jerseys and the Panthers logo. Which is weird because I actually hate the original logo. If they ever go back to the original logo, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be pissed. Absolutely pissed. Because I love this look. Anyways, that is my ranking of of every single NHL team.